everybody, Looking for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video. I am finally free from school for a little bit, so I can finally start getting back to doing videos on a actually decent amount of basis. Anyways, so first thing I want to do is do a deck profile of something that I've been having a lot of fun with. With Master Rule 4, a lot of my favorite decks were really hindered, if not straight up killed in certain situations, due to the new link mechanic and everything. And one of the decks that I thought was basically borderline dead was Raid Raptors. I love Raid Raptors. They are one of my favorite decks from Arc V, and I've been really trying to challenge myself to make the deck a bit better going into Master Rule 4. And this is the build that I've come up with. It's been doing pretty good. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Basically, it comes down to playing it like Shun does in the anime and ranking up like crazy. The issue is that with no easy, coherent way of getting to your rank ups, you gotta play the stall game to get to your rank ups in a decent amount of time while also still stalling, so you can hopefully make a counterattack. And that's the whole point of this deck, is stall, counterattack. That's kind of basically it. So let's get on to deck profile and I'll just stop yammering on. So first and foremost, we got triple Tribute Lanius. So Tribute Lanius is pretty cool. He's got the best attack of any of the main deck dudes. And whenever he's summoned, you can send a Raid Raptor card from your deck to your graveyard. And if he kills something in battle, you get to search out one of your quick play rank ups. Keyword there is quick play. And sadly, not all of the actually almost all but one of the quick play rank ups are pretty bad. So really you gotta only play one of them if you play any at all, which does really suck because I really wish the quick plays were a bit better, but I digress. Anyways, he's still one of the better starter cards for the deck. Now next up though, we got Raid Raptor Avenge Vulture. So Avenge Vulture is really interesting. Whenever you take damage, you can spell summon from your hand, and for the rest of the turn you're locked into Raid Raptors, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you're locked into Raid Raptors. His effect is not a once per turn, so if you take damage, you can summon out all three if you happen to have them all in your hand and stuff. The big thing is that locking you into Raid Raptors. With the era of links, we need to be able to make links in order to open up more zones to be able to get out more XCs. Now, that being said, once the deck gets their own archetypal link, which hopefully we won't have to wait too long for, please Konami, give some of the Arc V archetypes a link monster. This thing's going to be amazing, especially in combination with one of the other cards in the deck. Now then, with that being said, his effect is really good during your opponent's turn. You take some damage, drop him. You get more board presence to make up for what you just lost, more than likely, or if you just get a monster, if you just got to attack directly. So then hopefully you don't have to worry about that during your next turn, so you can hopefully use them for Link. Yeah. Pretty good card overall. Next up, we got the main starter card, something you really want to open up with as soon as possible. Raid Raptor, Vanishing Lanius. During the turn he was normal summoned or spell summoned, you can summon out another Raid Raptor from your hand. Pretty straightforward card. He's basically a marauding captain, but however, it's not on his summon, it's just during the turn that he was summoned. So if you want to do some shenanigans with that, you can, and it doesn't lock you into anything in particular, which is just great. Moving on, we got one of the main search cards, Raid Raptor Mimicry Lanius. If he's summoned, you can make all Raid Raptors you control gain a level. I believe it's just gain a level. Yeah, just increase the level by 1 for everybody. And then if he's in your graveyard, you can banish him, search out a Raid Raptor card. Do search, he must be in the graveyard the turn he was sent there. So if you have him under somebody as an Xyz material, that monster gets run over, you won't be able to search off of his effect during your next turn because he's been there for a full turn. Which is a bit annoying, but you're generally milling him off with Tribute Lanius, detaching him for an Xyz monster's effect right away, getting his effect while in graveyard. Pretty great monster overall in general. I don't really have much else I can say about him. And now we got a card that I think is pretty underutilized but makes really good stall power, and that is Raid Raptor Napalm Dragonius. Now I am playing 3. I've thought about cutting him down to 2. I'm kind of really still messing around with the ratios and everything. But again, my whole idea was stall power. So Raid Raptor, Napalm Dragonius, whenever he's out on the field, just you can burn your opponent for 600. And then if he's killed in battle, you can spell summon any Raid Raptor from your deck, but its effects on the fields are negated. And yeah, it's pretty good overall. He is basically a giant rat for the deck. But however, it is nice that you can float into another one, and then since it's only on the field effect that's negated, you can then summon out another, and then hopefully loop into something else, which makes some really good life-saving thing while also protecting, well, deck thinning, which is something that the deck has pretty good consistency doing. So Dragonius I like just because he's able to add an extra burn, and of course he can easily make it to where you can hopefully survive a good few hits. I wish he got his effect off of being killed by card effect though. That's the one big caveat to him, is that it's only by battle that you get his destruction effect. Next up, we got Fuzzy Lanius. The card that conundrums me, well, that's quite a conundrum because his name is Fuzzy, but he's not fuzzy, but I digress. So, Fuzzy Lanius, if you control a Raid Raptor, you can just plop him on your field, and if he's sent to the graveyard, you get to search out another copy of him. Both effects are hard once per turn, or at least I think the second effect is for sure. Yeah, each effect is a hard once per turn, and during the turn that you use either of the effects, you can only special summon Raid Raptor monsters. Again, another situation where a Raid Raptor Link would be really, really, really good right about now, Konami. So, again, you mainly just use them to just do some combos and stuff, make your XCs, and try and work around that good old restriction of not being able to make a Link monster, which is one of the reasons why this deck doesn't play many Link monsters. I'll be honest, I'll just say this right now, this deck only plays 2 Link monsters, and even then you could probably cut it down to 1 if you really wanted to. So yeah, he's really, really good. He used to be even better because of just being able to just special, search. It was just so stupid. I loved it. But now you got to be more smart about it because of Master Wolf 4. And here's the card that I mentioned earlier, Raid Raptor, Pain Lanius. So this is the card that you're mainly going to be triggering Avenge Vulture off of, and just so I don't mess up anything, basically it cannot be used for an Xyz material, for an Xyz summon, except for a Raid Raptor monster, except for a Winged Beast monster, actually. If this card is in your hand, you can target a Raid Raptor monster you control that has a level. Take damage equal to its attack or defense, whichever is lower. Your choice if tied. And if you do, spell summon this card. And if you do that, this card's level becomes the current level of the targeted monster. You can only use his effect once per turn. So whenever you are going for your Link plays, you're mainly using this guy. Sure, his effect is a hard once per turn, but being able to just get a monster out on the field is pretty awesome. And yeah, sure, you're locked into only Winged Beast monsters for your XC summons. That doesn't include Links, obviously, so you can use them for Link summons, which is great, so you can open up more zones, so that then you can hopefully go for more XCs plays. And then we got 2 Raid Raptor Sharp Lanius. This guy's pretty cool. Whenever during the turn he was normal summoned or special summoned, you can target a monster your opponent controls, switch it to defense, and then if he attacked, you get to summon out any Raid Raptor from your graveyard in, I believe, defense position. Am I right? Yeah, special summon it, and just special summons it. Doesn't have to be in defense. Pretty cool. And then finally, 1 Raid Raptor Necrofulcher. Necrofulcher is pretty cool. You can tribute off a Raid Raptor to grab back one of your rank ups from your graveyard, but you cannot spell summon from the extract except for, well, rank ups. Which is pretty cool. You play him as a 1-of just for general recursion. Usually tribute himself off just to get your stuff going. Pretty good card overall. I just wish he didn't have that annoying restriction. Moving on to the spells, starting off with the rank ups, we got triple rank up Magic Soul Save Force. And this card is kind of like the make or break card for the deck. You target 1 Raid Raptor XCs in your graveyard, special summon it, and then rank it up into a XCs monster with 2 ranks higher, which is pretty good overall. And it's any generic XCs that you can bring out with its effect after you to rank up into. So that allows for some hilarious shenanigans like playing Cyber Dragon Infinity, or another card that personally I prefer over Cyber Dragon Infinity just because it's more fun. Although Infinity is pretty awesome, I feel like he's gotten a bit worse after Master Wolf 4, especially for this deck that can't really make him very easily. The whole point of this is to try and make a comeback with this card in regards to that. And previously, I could see the making of the Infinity a lot more, just because, well, you could actually get out multiple monsters. I just feel like Infinity is just not as good as it used to be, so I kind of sort of stopped using it in here. Moving on, we got three rank up magic skip force. So this card, you target one Raid Raptor Xyz you control, rank it up into another Raid Raptor Xyz that is 2 ranks higher, and if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it and another Raid Raptor monster. Especially when a Raid Raptor Xyz from your graveyard, you cannot do that effect during the turn that it was sent there. Pretty awesome overall. Moving on to more Raid Raptor Nest. This card is really good. So once per turn, if you control 2 or more Raid Raptor monsters, you can add any Raid Raptor monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can add from deck or grave, which is just amazing, being able to grab back any Raid Raptor from your graveyard, especially during the late game when you're running out of resources in your main deck, or you might want to save that search for something else, so you want to get something back from your graveyard. Really good card overall, and you can recycle your extract monsters to your extract. Just really good card. You only play 2 of it though, because well, it's incredibly searchable thanks to Mimicry and Tribute Lanius, but also it's a super hard once per turn. You can't have multiples and just resolve multiples. If you could, that would be amazing, but you can't, so yeah. And then for the last rank ups, I got 2 rank up Magic Doom Double Force. Basically, if a Raid Raptor Xyz monster you control is destroyed by battle, special summon it with this card, and then rank it up into a monster that is double its rank. So Raid Raptors have an Xyz monster for every rank except for 2 and 1, if I remember correctly. So you can basically go into anything with this, except for, you know, making a, I don't know, well, no, there's everything, except for making a 12, a 24, because there's no such thing. So obviously there is a limit for the bigger ones, but you're mainly using it to bring back the small guys to make them into the big ones, which is pretty cool. Then 2 Allure Darkness. I feel like 3 is a bit too much. 2, the big thing is that this deck does not like to banish its stuff, except for like for Mimicry searching. So yeah, you don't really want to banish your stuff too much. And then of course there's the big power player, Soul Charge. Can't really go wrong with Soul Charge in this deck. Activate this, bring back everything, make like a big hit link, and then go for your Xyz plays. Really good card, kind of goes without saying. And then finally for the traps, I just play 1 trap, but 3 copies of it. Raid Raptor Readiness. I know a lot of people don't seem to like Readiness, but again, this deck I've decided to kind of go for stalling to make a counterattack, and Readiness is an amazing card. So whenever you activate it while it's on the field, all Raid Raptor monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Okay, cool. If it's in your graveyard, you can banish it if you have a Raid Raptor in your card other than itself, and for the rest of the turn, you take no battle or effect damage. This card is insanely good, especially if you're going against something like Trickstar or freaking anything that can try and OTK you. It is such a powerful and amazing trap card. I absolutely love it, and I don't get why people hate on it so much. Yeah, sure, it doesn't do anything really to add to your consistency or your card economy or anything, but it is such a powerful trap for this deck, for just being able to stall and make a counterattack, and for being able to just completely lock your opponent out of from being able to kill you. If you can prevent your opponent from being able to OTK you to then turn around and OTK them during your turn, this card is one of the best cards to do that. Also, I gotta say, out of all the artworks for the Raid Raptors, this card is my favorite artwork. It's just so well detailed, and it's just a pretty card to look at. Moving on to the extract. First and foremost, we got 2, and I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, I can already tell, 4 Strix. So I cut 4 Strix down to 2 from 3 because whereas making triple 4 Strix was really good pre-Master Roll 4, it's not so good anymore. You can't really make more than 1 of them in a turn, and he's just really, you kind of like make 1, use his effect, sit on him. There's not much more you can do after that until we get a Raid Raptor Link monster, if we ever get a Raid Raptor Link monster. So there's not really much reason to be playing 3 of him anymore, especially since you can recycle him rather easily. Not to mention, I did have to make room for freaking Link monsters, so it goes without saying that cutting something was kind of necessary. And then next up for the big comeback card, Raid Raptor, Blade Burner, Falcon, of which I'm playing 2 of. I've kind of floated back between 1 and 2 of them, but I found that he's like the main guy that people saw in Warning once they read his effect. So I kind of had to bump him up to 2 so I could try and actually make him. So he is the only other rank 4 in the deck that only needs 2 Raid Raptors to go into alongside 4 Strix. And so then if he's Xyz summoned while you have 3,000 or less life points compared to your opponent, his attack gains 3,000. So he jumps up to 4,000. And then whenever he kills a monster in battle, you can detach Xyz material, as many Xyz materials as you want from him, to pop monsters your opponent controls up to the number of materials you detached. So of course he needs 2, so you can detach 2 to pop 2 more monsters, meaning that you can then open up the floodgates to attack your opponent directly with your other monsters to go for game. Really powerful card overall, especially since nobody plays battle traps anymore. He can just swing for game very, very, very easily. I absolutely love it. Moving on, we got 2 Raid Raptor, Revolution, Falcon. This is your main win condition, I'm going to be completely honest. So obviously Blade Burner is really only good if you're in a losing position, which this deck is kind of going to be in 95% of the time. But Raid Raptor Revolution Falcon allows you to really try and push forward. He's not too great against True Draco and Monarch though, and that's because of his effect. So basically you can detach an Xyz material and he can attack every single monster your opponent controls once each. And then also, if he battles a special summon monster, that monster's attack and defense are dropped to 0. Now, that effect will always happen. You don't have to detach for that. But however, it's just such an incredibly powerful effect, just being able to drop any monster that was special summoned down to 0. Since he has 2,000 attack, if you just run over, 4 monsters, you win. Which, considering the state of the game and everything, it is not that hard to do. He is, again, your main win condition. He also has a Focus effect if he has a dude under him as Xyz material, which can help get at burn damage, trying to get you down, trying to get your opponent's life points down to a point where you can actually go for game. But yeah, again, that effect isn't that great compared to just the attack everything and drop everything down to 0. Now for the one-ups, I play 1 Rise Falcon. I've seen some people play him, some people don't. Rise Falcon will always hold a special place in my heart because he was like the first thing that we see out of Raid Raptors, and he was just absolutely amazing in that debut, and I still absolutely love the card. He does basically the same thing as Revolution Falcon, but doesn't drop your opponent's attack down to 0. Instead, he gains attack. You detach Xyz material, he gains the attack power of 1 special summon monster your opponent controls. Since he needs 3 materials to go into, you can do that 3 times, jack him up to like 7k. Now that is a once per turn effect, so you gotta like gain attack over time, which is a bit annoying, but obviously you're always going to be targeting your opponent's strongest monsters so that he can whack over all of your opponent's strongest monsters, because he can, like Revolution Falcon, jump over everybody, which is pretty, well, attack everybody, I mean, which is pretty cool. And then we got 1 Raid Raptor Blaze Falcon. This card is also pretty cool. He can Regeki your opponent's board at the cost of an Xyz material and burn your opponent for 500 each. And then if he has Xyz material, he can attack your opponent directly. And if he does that, you get to pop another monster, which is really, really insane. So if like your opponent has a monster that can, like, I don't know, that they can protect or something, from the Regeki effect, you can then just jump over their monsters, poke them for 1,000, pop that monster again, or try to again. Really cool card overall. Then we got 1 number 41 Baguska, again just stalling until we can win. Then here's the big thing that I absolutely love using with Frank Up Magic Soul Save Force, because if you bring back Soul Save, if you use Blaze Falcon, bring it back with Soul Save Force, you can then make Odd Eyes, Rebellion Dragon, or Raging Dragon, depending on your personal preference. So Raging Dragon and Rebellion Dragon, I'm personally playing Rebellion right now. I flip-flop between both of them. Rebellion is probably the weaker of the 2, but I have an ulti of him and I want to use it. And so, Rebellion Dragon, if he's Xyz summoned using an Xyz monster as Xyz material, you can destroy all of your opponent's level 7 or lower monsters, inflict 1,000 for each, and then he can attack up to 3, well, a total of 3 times. Raging Dragon does kind of the same thing, but destroys everything and only gets to attack twice. It really does come down to your personal preference. You don't get to do this too often, but it is really just sacky when you do, and it is a fun little play to do, and I just absolutely love it. Now then, the reason you're able to get away with this is that Soul Save Force treats it as an Xyz summon, and since it gets around the summoning requirements of, well, two dragons for this dude, it treats it as an Xyz summon, and since it was an Xyz summon using an Xyz material, you get the effect, and it's hilarious. Moving on, 1 Raid Raptor Satellite Cannon Falcon. I know I used to play 2 in like my original build, but again, just like with this good old what's-a-who's-its Forstrix, I had to cut some stuff down to fit room for links, and so yeah, that was kind of what was needed. Also, you don't make them as much anymore, and nobody really plays back row anymore except for certain decks out there, so yeah, this is kind of needed. 1 Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. This thing is obnoxious and is a 3,500 towers. And then 1 Raid Raptor Final Fortress Falcon, who is kind of the same thing. I think it's funny how the level 10 is freaking better than the level 12. Oh yeah, they don't have a level 11. That just dawned on me. Okay, so now then for the links. Again, only 2 because the deck, again, because of the freaking restrictions, isn't able to spam them out like crazy. First and foremost, we got Underclock Taker. He's just a really good generic link monster. For the deck, opens up another zone, can open up another zone depending on if he's in the top or at the main monster zone. And then of course he has a pretty good effect as well. And then for the big one, we got Surge of Skull Dread. This is the main one you want to try and make between the 2 links if you can. It's not that hard. It's best doable with using Vanishing Lanius, normal summon Vanishing Lanius, effect, special summon out, good old, darn it. I'm losing my train of thought, but there's a way to do it with just Vanishing Lanius, but you need Vanishing Lanius, Pain Lanius, 1 more Raid Raptor, and then I think that's about it. No, you need 1 more after that, but there's still a combo that you can do with that. It does require some setup though. Typically speaking, what I usually do is I have a Forstrix out, get his search on. Hopefully my opponent doesn't kill it. Go to my turn, normal summon a Vanishing, special summon out a dude, Pain Lanius, special summon, and then go for a Skull Dread so then I can go off even more. Because while Fuzzy says that you can't special summon non-Raid Raptors, period, during a turn, Venge Vulture just says for the rest of the turn, so then you can get around that. Really cool card overall though for the deck. I'm just hoping one of these days this deck does get its own Link monster. So that is my Raid Raptor build, guys. What do you guys think of Raid Raptors? Do you think that they have any potential to actually be playable under Master Rule 4 to an extent, if they ever get their own Link? Honestly, even before the Link, I feel like that it's not half bad. It's definitely in a weaker situation than it was before, but the deck is still a lot of fun to play, and I just really like it as a casual rogue deck. So guys, what do you guys think? Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See you all later. Peace out and goodbye.